Oh man, Music 225. I don't even know where to start. I mean, I came into this, calling myself a songwriter and a producer and everything, but no one's ever actually pushed me, to go so far as to, write these songs and write them with as much depth and actually thinking about the depth and like all the tools and techniques, that we were told to use and asked to use. It's just, I've never really written songs, to that level. I mean, coming into class, I just thought it was going to be something fun. Yeah, songs I wrote, it'll be easy. Lyrics I've already written, I can, just put to a beat and put on, and that's that. It's great, but, it was different than that. But I gotta say, the majority of the songs, that I put on there were brand new. I mean, a lot of times I had all the beats already, that's not anything I made new. I had all the beats, I have a bunch of beats on a CD. Yeah, I just basically got ideas, I have a strange way, I think, of thinking of things. I get one little tiny thought, and, that spurs into a premise, it just turns into something that I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, I'd say about 80% or so of the songs, I submitted for class were brand new, ones I never even thought of. Green Peace, for instance, and I know I spelled peace differently than actual green peace. It's P-I-E-C-E is how I spelled it. That was because it's a piece of music, it's a little wordplay there, green peace. It's a piece of music and it's also a green, it's a green song. I looked outside, saw, nature, was looking at it, and I just thought, let's do a song about nature. Let's do that. And it turned into just a song about nature. It turned from that to an actual, like a message, an awareness song. I wanted to, I like to have a message in my songs. I want people to be aware of certain things sometimes. I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to push my views on people and say this is the right thing, but, if I feel like something is positive, makes sense, or is important, then I want to, write a song about it. And Green Peace was one of those songs where I felt that was important. We did the Blues Week, and that was interesting because, as I wrote, for that song, the BeBot Blues song, I was going through some, mentally frustrating times, with my finances and everything. And, that song kind of was easier to write because I was going through those times and we were doing the week on blues. And the funny thing is that beat, that's one of my favorite beats I've ever made. It's one of my earlier beats. I made that probably at least 5 years ago. And I always thought it'd be like a deep track, like some kind of like just deep hip-hop track, whatever. And it's kind of funny that I used that for, a blues song. It kind of had that, I guess you could say, melancholy kind of feel, kind of a gloomy, dark feel, but kind of smooth at the same time. But, I used that for the blues song. And I gotta thank everybody, seriously, for who gave me those kind words and, like, hopeful words. I really do appreciate that. That was awesome. Thank you. Another thing I, could take away from the class, something I learned, was a lot of techniques and terms that I never knew before. Like timber, for all I knew, that's what you yell, when a tree falls down. I never knew it was, a way to basically describe like what instruments or voices were used in a song. Word painting, that was one of the coolest things to me. That assignment was very awesome. Word painting, where, you say a word and you have something like a sound or something to back that word up. Like you say the word hi and you say like hi, or you sing, sad and you say it, real, sad. You're painting the words, you're giving the word, more than, what it is. It's more than a word. You're painting a picture for the ears. Use that. Another cool thing about the class is that, I realized in my own songwriting how many of these techniques I actually use. I don't even think about that. I just have a beat or a premise in my head and I start writing, and that's that. I don't think about, different things to do with it. It just turns out that, you know, when I write songs, I happen to use these tools. Now that I actually know what these are and know they exist and can actually, you know, factor that into a song, that just gives me so much more room for creativity. Now that I have the knowledge of these tools and terms and techniques, you know, the world outside the box is even bigger. I can't do that. I mean, just the horizon is, you can't even see the horizon. It's just, that's how big it is. I mean, you know, with this class, I have the knowledge and skills and opportunity to just, you know, be that much more crazy and out there and creative, you know, with the songs I write. It's awesome. It's something, you know, you can't, you know, ask much more of. It's great. Yeah, you know, I like to be silly and funny, you know, that's just what I do. I enjoy that. That's easy for me, you know, and even when I don't try to or I don't intend on incorporating that in songs, you know, humor just sometimes ends up in there because that's what's inside of me. But there are times where, you know, I do try. I mean, for instance, the song I made, Can't Go Back. I mean, I wrote that first verse a while ago and had that beat, and I actually wrote the song around the hook, you know, the synthesizer noise in the song. I basically wrote the hook according to that, you know, that melody that I had created, and from there, for whatever reason, I really have no idea why, Can't Go Back. Can't go back is the first thing that popped in my head, and from there I just designed, you know, the whole song around that. So it was just basically silly, goofy things that, you know, you can't go back on, and that's kind of, you know, that's where that song came from. Yes, I completely enjoyed collaborating. When I saw that collaboration was one of the assignments, I was honestly excited. By that time in class, I'd already seen that we had, you know, so many talented people. I had no idea the talent I was gonna, you know, come across. I was honestly, you know, amazed and proud that, you know, it was people, you know, who basically lived, you know, near me and, you know, in my general surrounding area. It was awesome. And yeah, I got to collaborate with Alicia and Sarah, which was awesome. That song was very fun. I know we had some frustrating times. It is hard because, you know, we couldn't get together in person. We had to do it by email. We basically made do with what we had. We didn't get to finish the song, which, you know, I would have loved to, and I would still love to. But I think the result was great. I was totally happy with it. I enjoyed it. I loved collaborating with them. They were awesome. They can both sing so good. They both sing in different ways. You know, they had different styles and everything, which was even better because, you know, we were able to, you know, combine, you know, our 3 different flavors and make this like magical ice cream of music. I'd say one of the songs that, I don't know, kind of surprised me that I did was Election Day. I had the premise because it was Election Day when I wrote it. Again, that was one of those songs that I wrote, you know, the day of, thought of the premise the day of, and wrote that same day that I recorded it. And what surprised me, I guess, about myself for that song was that the reaction it got. I mean, people were like, you know, that's awesome, I totally feel that, I want to hear the song, you know, finished. There was at least, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 people that were like, you know, I expect to hear that song finish, or I want to hear it finished. You know, I used the metaphor of, you know, like voting Republican or Democrat, you know, the red or blue, so I was like, is it red or blue, dude? Bloods or Crips? You know, that was the metaphor assignment, I believe. I decided to finish that song because I got so much feedback that people wanted to hear, you know, hear the finished product. And that totally inspired me to finish the song. I mean, I was excited to finish it, and, you know, the feedback I got from the finished product was, you know, that much better. Yeah, the class, you know, they inspired me to, you know, finish that tune, and it was great. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, yeah. One of the most fun, you know, songs I had creating was Timing is Everything. I believe part of that, assignment had to do with texture, among other things. But, the assignment stated that you could basically create a beat using found sounds, which is where just anything, like clapping your hand or like slapping your leg or like hitting two cans together or smacking your face like I used as a sound effect. I made the beatbox, and when I looped it and heard it back, listened to it, it was like, it's kind of sloppy. Sounds like a kid made it. And I thought, yeah, it does sound like a kid made it. That's a great idea. It's kind of one of my little tactics I use that, if I don't want to redo something, I just think of a way to, use it as it is, and that's kind of how that whole song came about. I did a sloppy beatbox. I didn't feel like recording it again and looping it and all that stuff. So I just kind of had the idea to turn into a kid song, or rather a song that, a kid wrote and recorded. And, from there, the ideas just, sprawled. I had the idea of like one little kid, performing the song. Then all of a sudden I, thought, yeah, maybe he has a sibling that wants to do the song too. And, he's in on it. And then the whole idea of them being kids and that, they're kids recording a song where they probably shouldn't be in a studio or using recording equipment. That's where I got the idea at the end to like include the grandpa coming in and, yelling at them to be quiet, shut them down, what are you boys doing? So, I had great fun with that song.